In case you're not convinced yet, Retribution rocks, my friends, and today I'd like to offer you my unpretentious, very passive, very casual friendly, really lazy players, quite a nice Retribution build. How about that? We're gonna talk about Retribution Paladin. Straight away, just disclaimers out of the way, it doesn't pretend to be tested thoroughly in Mythic Plus or something like this, but it's great for majority of the content, such as LFR, such as probably majority of the other dungeons. Delves are yet to be proven. We are going to stay on that tune as soon as War Within launches, so I'm gonna follow up on that. This build particularly shines in AoE situations, in something that doesn't even have to be many targets, but the more the merrier, absolutely, for this build. You will really please yourself by being at the very top, within the top 3 of the DPS meters, especially if you play better than me. I literally face roll and the results speak for themselves. They are awesome, okay? This is not particularly a single target build, and I don't actually think that paladins are a single target. They do okay, but they are not really a class and a spec that is built to shine specifically for single target fights. And who wants that? In the dungeons you mostly mow down everything. You are not really a boss killer, but you can hold your own in the dungeon and stuff like that. Enough said? Okay, well, let's take a look at the build and exactly how I play it. I love that Blizzard this time around gave us, actually, with the recent updates that they rolled out just before the War Within, I like that they have given us an opportunity to build an abomination like this and please some of the people like me, who don't want to press extra buttons but still want to do rather well. Let's take a look. What's shining front and center to you here, my friends? Well, quite obviously, I have not taken the Wake of Ashes. It's an extra button, it's an extra kind of cooldown here to put into the rotation, and one would argue that it's not a massive ask. I have been okay with previous builds that have done well on Retribution Paladin, and they have had Wake of Ashes. I would even tell you more than that. They had not just Wake of Ashes, but they also had Divine Toll there. That is also a fairly common thing to take for us, so please don't think that I'm completely oblivious to the fact that classic Retribution Paladin builds right now in Season 4 of Dragonflight include both of these abilities. But I kinda am very pleased with this discovery, and I'm at the moment testing it, but I think it's solid enough to remove these 2 extra buttons and 2 extra cooldowns, 2 extra decisions that need to be taken in terms of should I do it, should I not do it, should I, use one over another, and you don't have to do either of these things, so that's pretty cool. What else is to point out? I'm also not taking any of these cooldowns, not Execution Sentence and not Final Reckoning, so that's a 3rd button, 3rd cooldown, gone, completely gone. You don't need to worry about it. You just continue going with your basic Blade of Justice, with your basic Divine Storm, with your basic Final Verdict, and that's about it. Crusading Strikes are doing the rest for you. It's very scarce, it's very like, I would almost say it's feast or famine. In this case it's famine, but I'm kind of leaning towards thinking that until I get bored of it, which is not yet, certainly not yet, otherwise I wouldn't be talking to you about it. I think until I get bored of such scarceness, I'm actually quite enjoying it. I think it's okay. Yeah, I would say it's marginally lower on the DPS meters against single targets such as bosses in LFR, because I don't have that initial burst. As you can see on the burst on initial targets, there are other classes, there are other players who are straight away shooting up into the top 10, and I'm somewhere there at the very bottom, kind of gaining my speed using the rudimentary basic abilities. Okay, fair enough, that's definitely a downside of this. But what are we talking about here? We're talking, first of all, I'm talking to the people who this build is for, and this is for people who want to play very passively, even at the detriment of not having that initial burst and those 3 extra abilities that give us that burst. Okay, well, might not be for everyone, but it works for me for the time being. So, what should I say? Well, we are dropping Divine Toll, we are filling out the rest of the passive beefing up, we make sure that our auto attacks deal extra damage, we do the passive increase of damage that our Crusading Strikes do, we make sure that the Blade of Justice hits nearby enemies. Like I said to you, we're building it up to be an AoE slayer in a passive sense of the word as well. The rest of it, we're going here on the sides, we're not going into the middle, we're not beefing up Wake of Ashes or taking anything that's off Wake of Ashes. We don't take extra Barrier of Holy Light, we don't take extra Shield of Vengeance as extra defense, we're fine without it. And we are going to the edges, we're going towards Searing Light, and we're going towards Divine Arbiter. Enough said, that's basically all there is. And no, we're not talking hero talents yet because the War Within is not launched at the moment of recording of this particular video. How to play? Mate, you're seeing it on the screen. I am literally face rolling, and yes, I see that I'm not doing everything right. That's why I'm dropping a little bit there on the DPS. But I'd say sustainably, I'd say at a sustainable pace, I'm sort of speeding up to about 180,000 DPS right now in this very average gear, I suppose casual friendly, but average, welfare gear, so to speak. Around 486 is my item level. I do have a nice Ashkan Duo, the Fall of the Brotherhood sword. It's not enchanted, nothing is fancy, and please pay attention that one of my trinkets is even a tanking trinket. Yes, it has a defensive, offensive component to it, but it is defensive trinket primarily. And no, I have not bought even yet the fancy rings that are branding the target and doing extra fire damage. So for example, I have not spent bullions on that yet. I have too many alts that are beefing up at the moment, but this guy is gonna be my main, but he's still not ready quite yet. That's about it. I have taken Crusade, and I'm experimenting with Crusade, but yes, I'm fully open, my friends, to switching to Avenging Wrath. Thank you very much. Might. That's what I'm open to switching to, but at the moment I'm playing with Crusade. If you see a very particular benefit to one over another, as always, I'm open to corrections, so talk to me in the comments down below. There are plenty of a lot more proficient paladins out there. I'm just experimenting with edgy builds like this in case it just hits the right spot. And this one is hitting close to the right spot for me. Don't know about you, test it. I will give you obviously the import string in the description of the video. Check it out. See for yourself if fewer buttons works better for you, or if you really miss that burst. That's probably the only thing that you may be missing. Because, yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel great to be trailing when everyone is skyrocketing ahead on the boss, but it feels amazing to do not much, but still pump out a ton of DPS in gear like this, in not optimized gear like this, on AoE pulls. And the majority of content in the dungeons, how we pull in the dungeons, as you imagine, all the way from boss to boss, it's all AoE pulls. So it's your job to mow them down, my friend, and this build perfectly allows you to do exactly that. Enough said, that's all I have. I'm only using, if you're wondering about anything else, I'm only using minimalist, standard UI, bare minimum of auras, bare minimum of extra add-ons such as details, such as weak auras, just simply here and there. The rest of it is just a standard UI. I hope you like this build. I hope you try it. Maybe for some circumstantial and mood, perhaps even, you feel like not just pressing too many buttons. I find it like it's in the rightish spot, possibly with some optimizations, with some extra trinket, with some extra this and that. It would be a bit more fun, this build, but it's in a pretty good spot. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a quick like so that more people can see it, and come back next week for something else from World of Warcraft, as the War Within is getting nearer and nearer. We're almost there. It's been a long time. It's exciting times ahead. It's a good time to be a World of Warcraft player. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.